Hey guys, welcome back to Evony with Genghis. In the tavern today, want to talk about Ascendable Sub-City Generals. I think this is a part of the game that is very important to the low-level or non-coiners. So I wanted to go over this. Basically, my opinion is you will get your best value in ascending and using your Blood of Heirs because it's limited to small coiners if you do it on sub-generals and duty officers. I'll do one on duty officers coming up. I'm going to focus on just the free tavern generals. I know some people out there are going to be like, they aren't free. You got to pay gold and gems. That's true, but you don't got to dig into your real pocket in real life and pay for them. So we'll just go over all the cultures one at a time. And keep in mind, let's wait a little bit. I know that I'm not going to fully ascend too many because I'm waiting on some like Cece. She used to be one of the best sub-generals you could have. Everyone wanted one of her and 9 Andrew Jacksons, but she's not ascendable now. So let's wait and see what they do with her before we start to fully dissect her or dismiss her, I guess is the term that I was looking for. So there was someone else here I wanted to see. Mansa Musa, ascendable, but still useless. So reduces enemy troop attack by 10, and then death to survival. You got to put him to 6 stars before he reduces 10% enemy defense. So at 6 stars, he's only tied with Herald, who you can also get in the tavern. So there's no point ascending Mansa Musa. I wish they would go a different route and like as if we can't figure that out. Maybe make Mansa Musa debuff siege HP and defense when you start to ascend him because people want that. But instead they just make him, so now he's 6 stars and he's equal to a 5-star Herald. There is no point in that at all. Suleiman. Let's take a look at him just because he reduces enemy defense by 10 and I'm just curious what they did with him on his ascension. Enemy troop defense, another 10. Okay, so they left him useless. I love when they do that. So that is it for the sub-generals. Over here, there's Jester, who they've canceled the Jester event. I haven't seen it in 2 years. And it was awesome. This guy's awesome. All troop 15%. I'd love to see what he would do if he was ascended. But I don't know why they haven't brought back the Jester event. It used to be every spring, and it was amazing. It was like Santa Clauses, but Jesters all over the map. And you collect them, and they cost 0 stamina to go. So you just go to them. They're even better than hitting monsters sometimes. Not now with Ymers, but on certain days. And anyways, you'd get tons of gold and other wheel chips and boxes to open that would have a chance to win a Jester or resources. But anyways, let's keep looking. So in Arabia, they only have Amir, who is behind a paywall. Portraits, they have Nevsky, who has potential, but he's not ascendable yet. So let's wait and see what ends up happening with that. And that's it over here. I do believe he has a debuff. Reduce enemy troop attack by 10% and reduce enemy attack 5 more percent, so 15%. So really not that good, not worth using Vladimir on a sub. China has none. It does Wei King. Yeah, Wei King does a little bit, but ground and mounted 10, enemy ground and mounted 15. And so I guess, 25 and 25 if you ascend him to 6. That's not actually that bad. So he's pretty usable now if you ascend him. For just the ground debuff at 15%, not that good. But if you get it to 25, that's pretty good for a free player trying to debuff ground attack. So thankfully, Evony did give us that. I don't believe this guy debuffs anything. No, he just buffs a bunch of random stuff that he's good at. None of them. And then over here, there is no sub-generals other than... is this guy a sub-general making gold? Yeah, but no ascension for him yet. And I'm sure he'll be useless. Over here is Honda, who's sneaky decent now. So reduce enemy ground troop and mounted troop HP by 15. And if you ascend him, 15 more percent on mounted troops. So you get that mounted troop to 30% and 15 more on defense, which is pretty good. The enemy ground troop HP is pretty easy to debuff with gear. It's on both the axe and helmet, so you get about 80% times how many subsidies you have, plus all the science. So ground troop HP isn't that hard to debuff, but you know, this is pretty good, but Andrew Jackson kind of makes him not worth using. So Andrew Jackson used to be the best. Let's see if he still is. So reduce enemy range attack by 20. So far, out of all the ones you've seen, no one's doing that. They're just doing all troop 10. But Andrew does range 20 and mounted troop 20. And the guy we just saw, Honda, did mounted troop 30 when he was ascended once. And right here, this will put ground and mounted troop, so ground to 10 and mounted troop to 30 with just one ascension. So Andrew Jackson keeps that 20 range, and he gets up to tie Honda at the 30 HP debuff with just one ascension. And if you go one more, which should be actually really easy with Andrew Jackson, fragment-wise, because he's so easy to get in the Tavern. Enemy ground troop, another 10, mounted 10. So you then get 40% mounted troop debuff, which is huge. And guys now have 12 and 1300% horse HP, the big guys. So you need this. It used to be all you needed was 500 debuff, and you'd cap anyone out at 1,000. Hardly anyone was over 900. Now that's not the case. There's lots of people over 1,200. So it is important. And if you want to get Andrew Jackson even higher, look at that, 4 stars, minus 20 range attack. Minus 20 more at 5 stars. So if you 5-star in Andrew Jackson, he's going to be really good. I'll tell you that. Now, let's... James Bowie has a debuff, and his ascension, but... So his 6-star ascension just helps him out more as a wall general. So unless they start to add ascensions to assistant wall generals, he remains not a good sub-general and not a good wall general, not even a good assistant wall general. So let's go all the way to the bottom here, and we'll just scroll up and look at all of the sub-generals in Europe. There are a couple that we're going to look at here. So Elizabeth reduces enemy range troop attack by 15%. And if you... Oh, sorry, she's not in the Tavern, so let's not look at her. She's terrible, so I thought she was in the Tavern, but I guess I'm confusing her with some other people. I think maybe it's Margaret we'll look at in a bit. So there is Harold. Lots of people on new servers like Harold. I don't know why. Reduce enemy troop attack, so all 4 troops by 10%. But it's not that important to do all of them because Siege is so easy to debuff and Mounted isn't that hard. Range is difficult and Ground is difficult, but 10% just ain't cutting it. It's not enough. And reduce enemy HP by 10%. Now, he's basically comparable to Mansa Musa, who only does troop attack 10%. So Mansa Musa is garbage. Don't even use him unless, that's all you got. But look to replace him. Now let's look to ascend him. And he increases that to doing 3 different things at 10%. Defense, HP, and attack. And then if you want to put him up 1 more, reduce enemy ranged troop and siege machine defense. Kind of just doesn't ascend well. So not a big fan of Harold. Let me know in the comments if you guys like Harold and why. I know lots of people like Harold. And I know the people who do like him do this. Enemy troop defense, 10%. And hey, that's good because it's really hard to debuff siege defense and range defense and ground defense and mounted defense. It is a hard thing to debuff. But it's just not as important as other stuff. And in this game, unless you're VIP 25, you're not debuffing everything. So don't even worry about it. So Margaret is the one I confused with... I don't remember the name down there. Was it Elizabeth? Reduce enemy troop attack by 10 and reduce enemy mounted by another 20. Okay, so I see some potential there. Let's look at what she does. At the next level, reduce enemy ground troop and mounted troop defense 10% and 5% more on those 2 troops' HP. So, just not that good because... Andrew Jackson does range troop, which is the most important attack to debuff by 20%. And here, doing all troop attack 10%, she's only doing 10 on range. And then mounted troop HP, she's only doing 5 and defense 10. So disappointing. Not that good. And let's keep looking up. We're looking for Arminus here. Man, I was excited when they ascended Arminus because he's always been a poor man's Andrew Jackson. So some people really like him because he debuffs 4 things. But ground troop HP and siege attack are so easy to debuff on your sub-general Achaemenid gear, they're not important. So then he really just comes down to he debuffs mounted troop HP by 10% instead of Andrew Jackson's 20%, and ranged troop attack 15% instead of Andrew Jackson's 20%. So I was like, maybe they'll do something with him on the Ascension, but they just gave him more of the same stuff. More of less of what Andrew Jackson does. Ground troop HP 10% at level 6. Not important. Very easy to debuff. Mounted troop 10. Okay, so he finally ties basic Andrew Jackson. So he gets 20% at 6 stars. So you wasted Blood of Heirs to get him tied with Andrew Jackson. And then the next level. Ground troop and mounted troop defense 5%. So you got to go all the way up. You got to go all the way up to 5 stars before you start to debuff more range attack. Just way too big of a commitment to make Arminus even a little bit worthwhile using. Charles Martel can now be ascended. Wow, I got to see this. Increase construction speed by 50 and training by 30. And then the next level will make him debuff 2 things at a very low level. So he is not worth having. And if I look down all the way, yeah, he is just a bad sub-general, but at least they gave him a little bit of a purpose down there, and that's it. So there's Constantine the Great. He is probably the worst or the rarest of generals you get in the cake. He used to be the big guy you'd get in the cake, but they've since made some better guys there at the full cake level for sub-generals, but he's still good because he does do ground troop defense attack. But we'll discuss him when we go through the pay wall sub-generals. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about the sub-generals. Please keep in mind and have a little bit of patience waiting for Cece and also Nero. Nero used to be really good, reducing every single troop by 15% on HP. So I really hope at the next level, if they ascend him, they start to make him focus on siege HP. That would be a game changer. It would put more life into Nero. It would give him a purpose. I think a lot of people would start using him, especially if you're over 10 billion in size. I know I'm just over 7 billion, and I got hit by Siege with BK the Terrible, and it hurt. And one of the things I really noticed was his Siege HP was in the thousands, and my debuff was in the 200s. And my defensive Siege HP and defense were only in the 600-700s. And he was just crushing me on that. Not to mention he had T15s, and he's a really good player, and I'm not. But anyways, little things could have helped and maybe had the power outcome a little different. So this is Genghis. Let me know in the comments what you guys are doing with your sub-generals. Are you focusing on them for your Blood of Heirs right now? Or duty officers? Or are you going straight PvP wall generals? So Genghis, Server 68, like, subscribe, leave a comment.